Sitaram, everybody. Welcome to Satsang again. Yours truly, Padre Keshava. Mommy, Baba, Priyaji is behind the camera. Tonight, our fourth session. And we enter into tonight Vishnu Mahapuran, part 3, the third Kand, chapter 17 I'm reading from tonight. For you that are watching at this time, for you that will be watching later on the replay, or if you are taking it in on YouTube at a later point, please take the time and share the satsang at this time, as we are about to discuss a very strange topic tonight. Tonight our star boy is Lord Vishnu again. For the young children that are listening, welcome children. During this month of Adig Mass, on the first night we heard about the value, about the importance of listening, Shravana, listening to the words, to the stories, the history, the glory of Lord Vishnu. And from that night till tonight, I have tried to give you things that will whet your appetite, make you think, if nothing, make you think. How come I didn't know this before? How come I didn't hear this before? How come I did not have any clue about this before? In this way, we've touched on why Lord Vishnu, last night we did this course where Lord Vishnu is given Shra and he's appointed the person to be born now in different avatar, incarnation, thus avatar. 10 times he's going to come. And he's told that you will go through pain and separation and hardships because of something he had done. Lord Vishnu is the person who, in more than one occasion, he does, as they say, to produce a lila, to teach a lesson. Tulsi discourse, last night discourse with the wife of Brigu. He undergoes pain, as it were, for the benefit, for the teachings of his children. Tonight we're going to hear about a discourse that I think is very important. Tonight we're going to learn about why are there other religions in this world. If somebody says, and I need you to listen, everybody, very important, the Hindu does not condemn. The Hindu does not criticize. And why is that? Baba, why don't we go, maybe print up some flyers talking about how great Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva is, Ganesh Baba is, and go from place to place and get numbers? Why don't we do that? Do a recruitment. Why don't we baptize new members and bring them in? Why do we not do like other religions and force people to join? Why am I saying force? As I sent out to the groups, for those of you that are in the group with me, as I said at the beginning of this Yagna, new legislation has now been laid to law in India, where people that work as NGOs, non-profit organizations, NPOs and NGOs that go, in India, in rural parts, and want to open schools and feed, and these things are very admirable. It helps a lot of people. But in those camps, in those places, in order for you to access the help that they're rendering, you must baptize, you must become, whether it is a Christian, whether you are recruited into Islam, you must join these organizations. Tonight I want to remind you, you might have to raise the volume a little bit. Can you hear me? Sound check, sound check. Can you hear me? 1, 2. Could somebody just give me a little feedback if you can hear me clearly? 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Still saying low? So tonight we want to do that type of discourse that is going to elucidate, bring out the information. Can you just, somebody just message me and just say if you can hear me well? Am I coming across clear? 1, 2, 1, 2. What?
Not clear.
What?
Not clear. Volume.
What is the reason? So as we enter into this discourse tonight, as we go into this, you're going to hear where other religion comes from and why the Hindu does not discriminate, why we don't attack other religion, why don't we do this. Can you hear me now? Everybody, just somebody say something. Is it okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. Is the background music too loud? I apologize for this. Please indicate if you can hear me. So tonight, as I'm going through this, because it is a very ticklish discourse, trust me, many pundits stay away from this discourse. Many pundits don't want to touch on this discourse because of the content, because of the nature of what it has. In tonight's discourse, we have to touch a little bit. On Bhagavad Gita. We're going to be in here in chapter 16. A couple of verses where he said some very interesting things correlated to what we have to talk about tonight. Tonight, as you listen to this discourse, I want you to remember, I am not attacking anybody, but instead, I am teaching you the importance of having patience. Not only with people, but sometimes our own family members. And why is the Hindu so tolerant? Tonight our discourse deals with one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu, that form called Buddha. First of all, I am referring to Buddha, who Siddhartha, I believe, was the Indian name he had before. And then he's a prince, the history. And he goes and he gains, self-realization. He gains knowledge. His mind opens up and he becomes a leader. He becomes a teacher from 2 to 4 to many others. And he's the cause of the religion called Buddhism. Tonight I want to first introduce that to you. Do you know that an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, this happened, according to text, 13th, 14th century, hundreds of years ago. And tonight we're going to hear why. And the reason I'm reading this is because somebody asked me, well, I've heard that Buddha, because with COVID, everybody started to talk about, the pestilence and the sickness, because there's discourses that deal with Kali Yuga. There are discourses that deal with the signs of the times, as we say, and how Lord Vishnu comes in his last incarnation of the 10th, the last incarnation, the form that is called Kalki Bhagwan, Kalki, that he'll be on a white horse, and when he's coming, the world will be riddled with sickness and trouble, and sadness and outcry will be there, and Lord Vishnu has to come in this form. So many people are discussing if it is the end of days. Is it now that COVID and the financial crash and the lifestyle, sexual lifestyle of some people, transsexual, bisexual, homosexual, the proliferation of these things, that that also have to talk about the fall in population numbers, the fall in healthy children numbers. People are being born with all forms of brain defects, physical defects, in a way that we never saw before. So in that conversation about the Kalki form, somebody says, but there seems to be, I believe it was Travis from New York, he said, Baba, I've heard you spoken about the Varaha, coming in lieu of the different ones before, Master Kurma, where he's in the tortoise form, Varaha nursing, coming out with Vaman Devta, who meets with that same. Last time we were talking about Prahalad, Bali, the one who goes and ties the Raksha for the first time. He goes, we call that Bali, that string on the hand. To answer one question, when I'm fasting, when I'm doing prayers, just like we go to a wedding and you see them tie Kangan. Kangan is a protection. Dear God, I'm going to get married. Please protect me for the duration of the wedding. But with all due respect, everybody, before honeymoon, before the toasting and the chairs and all these things happen, if you be the type to taste liquor or to eat other than vegetarian, the truth is we know that we take that off because it will be desecration. Likewise, please be mindful. The string that is placed here is simply a protection. The history begins when Vaman, Lord Vishnu, ties the string on the hand of Bali. And he says, may you give me something for my Yagna that will protect me. And before the point where the Vaman, the dwarf, takes the 3 footsteps we all know about, and he puts the last one here, the string gives him that protection. He doesn't perish and go through trouble. He ends up in that place, in that realm of Patal, where his father, Prahalad, was once king. That same Bali, do you hear about him again? Yes. When Lord Krishna comes and he looks for Devaki one day, Devaki says, don't come by me. Do not, if you've never heard this, please listen. Vasudeva had a great yagna. This is long after Kans is destroyed. Krishna had already married. And he comes to look for his parents. He sits with his father, eats, and his father is very happy. Vasudeva is very happy. And he feels as if, Vasudeva feels as if his yagya is complete because Balaram and Krishna had come and eat in his yagya. So when he had finished with Vasudeva, he goes to look for his mother. And when he goes by Devaki, Devaki admonishes him, oh, you go from here. Don't come and look for this sinner. Don't look for this pitiful worm-like person. So Krishna wants to know, Ma, why are you talking like this? Ma, what did I do? Oh, mother, what did I do to hurt you, to harm you? Why are you roughing up your baby boy? And he tried to play with her and mama guy and bring the ears, and she's getting more angry. No, you want to go, word for word, Bhagavad Puran. You want to go and make Vasudeva happy. Nanda and Yashoda, they are very happy. Give them all your childhood. But me, I am a dog. Krishna smiles. Ma, what could I do to change your mood? Tell me, mother, I am your son. Whatever you want, you give me. You give me an order, my dear, and I will go and I will grant it. She says, oh, how great is Sandapani, Rishi. If I ask you tonight, oh Hindu, you who love Lord Krishna, who is the guru of Lord Krishna? Remember, Sandapani Rishi. And when he had finished in the ashram of Sandapani, Devaki knew what had happened. What happened was, Sandapani Rishi had lost his son. So the wife tells Sandapani, when Krishna comes to give you your Guru Dakshina, don't take gold and gems, but ask him to get back our son. And the Guruji did ask, and he does get back the Guru Bhai. Devaki says, Sandapani Rishi can get back his child. But what a fool am I, that I, as a woman, the woman's body is a reflection of her. She says, I am given, with all respect, a breast, a bosom, but I was never given the opportunity to breastfeed. For all the mothers out there, listen to this tonight. The breast is linked. Somehow there's a magic, something of this part of your body. Ladies know obviously more than me. When the child is born and you are at a distance and the child is at a distance and you cry, I've been told, one cry from that child at home and the mother will start to leak milk. So powerful is this lady that God sends her signals that, hey, boy, husband, call home, something wrong home, something going on home. When we have a drowning, I don't know if you know this, when somebody dies by unfortunately drowning in the sea or whatsoever, and we accept the fact that the person has died, but the ocean is not giving the body. The mother is the one who goes with her bosom to the water, and I wish this on nobody, with her bosom to the water and taking the salt water, passes it and prays that I, with this bosom fed that child, give me back that child. And as upon it, I've seen it. The lady, we give her a little moment of privacy. She goes to the water, does her thing, cries out her emotions to that water, and when that salt water passes on the breast, you watch up or watch down on that shoreline, and that body will be coming. When, for the Naunia, for the ladies out there, the mother just made the baby, and the baby is crying, and the milk is causing that chest to hurt. They take bale picker, and they pass it from the top of the shoulder, come down to the nipple with prayer. Of course, this is a ladies only moment. And when that picker or that plant that is associated in one discourse, the Lakshmi Mata as well, the nodules that are sometimes blocked that prevent the milk from coming, pray, jarring, pray, milk is going to start to run. So wonderful is this gift that God gave to a lady. Imagine she recycles. When people talk about mothers, think about somebody that is literally somehow grinding the bone in her body, and she is making it into milk form, and that milk is going to nourish a skeleton that is growing within her, and then to feed the child when the milk comes out, when the baby comes out. The mother, her body is an amazing factory. Devaki now says, I have this whole factory. But what a sinner I am. What a sorrowful person I am. I cannot not one day get to breastfeed my children. Not once will I get to feed my children. All, one by one, they were destroyed. They were killed by my brother. The seventh one is a miscarriage. That miscarriage is where Balaram was from her womb put into the womb of Rohini, the other wife of Nand. And the eighth child is you. But I did not get to feed you. You were born and then you were moved. So you don't study me or Krishna, you study everybody. You bring happiness and joy, and you leave this person I'm living as if I'm still in a jail. And Krishna says, oh ma, just instruct me. Tell me what will give you happiness, and whatever it is, I will do it for you. She says, bring back my children for me. Just once I would like to feed them. Although my body has aged, you are a grown man. Give me one moment and allow milk to flow from my body. Give me one more chance just to fulfill this opportunity, this act as a mother. Give me that. Krishna goes to Patal, and who does he meet? Bali. That string that he tied on his hand and kept it there gave him the benediction, gave him the joy to meet Krishna now, this other form of Lord Vishnu. And to do what? Seva for Lord Vishnu. He says, oh Bali, I've come to look for my 6 brothers. Could you please fetch them for me? And if you've ever seen in older versions, the books of Bhagavad, you will see a lady sitting and 6 children are playing all over her body. This is Devaki in that moment. Bali goes and he brings these souls for his Lord. And Krishna goes back to mommy, and Devaki got to feed her children. It is there she gets a blessing. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Please remember, the Bali is a protection. But when you're fasting, keep it on. When you're not fasting, with all due respect, take it off. There are different things that we use. Other than that, when you are in a mood of non-fasting, when householders, husband and wife time, children making time, there's a way to have protection for your body. But this is done only when ritual is about to start. Just as the Kangan is done in the Sanskar. It is something to be respected, something to be treasured when you are fasting. And when that time comes and the Visarjan and your puja is being done, meaning you lift the kalsa of the coconut, remember we talked about that? When that is being lifted, dear God, I return you. I called you on the Bedi, I return you now to conclude my puja, to clean up, to wipe clean the Bedi, to eat salt food, to break fast. May you please allow me to do so. When that is being done, that is the time to relinquish that kanda, that bali. Tonight, as somebody asked me about that missing link between Kalki, Krishna, Ram and all others, Vaman, how come we don't hear about Buddha? And tonight I want to ask you if Buddha is the 9th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. I am a Lord Vishnu devotee. How come when I go to temple I don't see Lord Vishnu in that Buddha form? I know there's Buddhist and Buddhist temple, but I don't see in Hinduism or Hindu temple that form. Tonight, as we are about to enter into our discourse after having this introduction, and I want to remind you, I hope everybody could hear me very clear. Please tell me again, just to make sure if you came in late, can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just making sure. Somebody please indicate, send a message or comment. Can you hear me? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. When, okay, thank you. So when we get into this, again, I'm not saying, I'm not damning anybody's religion, but please listen. Please clasp your hands, bow your heads, as we do simple opening mantra before we go into this very, very important discourse tonight. Om Gajananam Bhotaganadi Sevitam Kapet Jambu Palachar Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashukarakam Namami Viganeshwara Padapankajam Sarvamangalamangalye Shive Sarvata Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Ruddhamarta Stanvandi Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangha Prado Kramo Pranishadai Gayantiyam Samaga Dhyana Vastra Targatena Mansa Pashyantiyam Yogino Yashyantam Navidur Sura Suraganadi Devaya Tasmai Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight as we enter into our discourse, I want to talk about how in this age of Kali Yuga, people will come and people will try to persuade you and to dissuade you from what you are doing. This is our topic tonight. We enter into this section 17, chapter 17. Parashad Muni is speaking of a holy history as he's being asked about the Buddha avatar. He says, in listening to these olden stories, Raja Sagar is the person who is asking the question. Again, devotees, I'm reading from Vishnu Puran tonight. And Rajan Sagar wants to know about, I've heard people say that the Dharma that a person follows is like clothing that protects the body, shields the body. And when a person walks away from their Dharma, it is as if they are leaving themselves bare. They are leaving themselves naked. Could you explain to me, Guruji, why the word naked? What does that mean? Where did this come from? Could you please describe this for me? For the benefit of my family, could you please protect us from making such mistakes as to be naked, spiritually naked? Parashad Muni says that the Rig Veda, the Yajurveda, Samveda, Tharva, these are the fourfold coverings that shield, that protect the mind, the body from the punishment of karma, from the individual, from their fate. The other night we were talking and I said there are different types of karma. There's something called praschit karma. When I was talking about when you're having your shower, how many of you today, when having your shower, you chanted Gayatri mantra? Did you put it into practice? Please send me a comment. Please send me a message. Come on, let's talk. Are you putting into practice what you are learning? When we do these type of activities, these things are called praschit karma. Rajan Sagar is learning that there's another type of karma. Tonight I want to let you know what is this other type of karma. There is something called parabdha karma. Parabdha karma is that karma that God says, because of your past activities, good, bad, I am going to make you a father, I am going to make you a husband, I am going to make you a daughter, I am going to give you a job, I am going to make you unemployed, I am going to give you a home, I am going to give you shelter, I am going to give you epilepsy, I am going to give you diabetes, I am going to give you good, bad and otherwise. Your gifts, otherwise. Parabdha karma example, Garb Puran says, when the person likes to light fire in other people's property, literally burn, incinerate property in their next life, they will know the sin that they have by having the lack of hair. They will be bald. If somebody says, but how if God made me and my 5 brothers, we come from the same belly, we come from the same home, we eat in the same pot, we grow up, but how come I alone bald head? Your karma in your body, in that text it says, I will put marks on your body to indicate to you that you have done this in your past and you should go and do the necessary activity to free yourself from that sin. So when you see that is indicating that in your last life you had done that. When if we listen to the teachings of other religion, they say that God made us in His image, into perfection. And I have no argument with that. That's good. But then a child is born blind. A child is born deaf. A child, today I was dealing with somebody who has epilepsy. And my question to you tonight, as many parents will ask me, why did God do that when my child was being made? When my child was being made, why is it that my child was made different? Did God forget my child? Hinduism explains that your child is given the opportunity, that person is given the opportunity to be born in human form, which is a great thing, but has little weaknesses, little mistakes, flaws upon the body. Which one of us is perfect at the end of the day? Because of corrupt karma. This is a sign of our past sin. So it is telling you and I what to do, encouraging, influencing good activity. So I went to court. Gertrude says I went to court and I said I saw Jackie kill Barry, but Jackie didn't kill Barry. I lied. In your next life, don't worry, this will not work. You go and you tell the wife, I went to work and I went home, but you didn't say who you met in between work and home, the girlfriend or whatever it be. Okay, no problem. In the next life, this will not work. Your tongue will not work. You will be gunga gungi, you can't talk. I like to listen to gossip, but in my next life, because I like to listen to the stories, the bad, the hurtful about other people, good, the bad and the other, in your next life you'll be robbed of this. In a same way, one day when I'm reading Dharma, we'll go through that. But I'm just enticing you that in this body, in the Hindu explanation of karma, the accountability of karma, God says, I give you rules, I give you structure, I give you a frame, I give you everything from the hair on your body, the teeth in your mouth, the sickness, the ability to understand maths or not, the luck, the good luck. All these things are coming because of the good and bad that you do. Our religion is very, 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 very accountable, very straightforward. And he says when a person walks away from that Dharma, it is as if you are walking away from the clothing, shielding. What does clothes do? Clothes protect my body, my skin from the cold and the weather. But when you walk away from that Dharma and those beliefs, and that Dharma is not there. Dharma is the Sanskrit word for principles. It is not there to protect you and influence you into doing good. Then it is as if you are naked and you are saying whatever come, karma, hurtful experience, bad experience, whatever come, take me. There's nothing to shield me, there's nothing to help me, etc. He says to understand this discourse, let us begin at the beginning. Last night we heard of Prahalada and the little conflict between the devatas and the daityas, the demons. At a different moment, Harada is now head of the demonic great battle again ensued between both sides. Lord Vishnu is called upon when the devatas, the good guys, have been beaten, they've been lost, they have been emasculated, they have been punished. And what do? When they run and hide in caves, they go and they put their hands and they pray to Lord Vishnu. Everybody will just do a couple of verses of this sutra. Aradhana nata lokanam Vishnurishasya ye giram Vyakhyamo Bhagavanyadha ta Vishnu prasidhyatho Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Yato Bhuta Yasho Yasya Prasutani Mahatvayatam Yasye Maschalayetam Dvijayate Kasya Ye Stotra Maheshwara Ye Tathayate Praptyati Vishwaye Yaham Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaye Namo Namah. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. May the glory of Lord Vishnu, who is without beginning, middle or end, He is appropriated and worshipped throughout this world. May you come, dear God, may you come. Who sings the glory of that great form, Mahavishnu, whichever form does so, originates, he has within his heart the true form of Anand, happiness. Though you are so great, still we try to sing for you. Today we try to call upon you. And they were all calling on him. Many voices go by as they prayed and supplicated him. Dear Lord, O Vasudeva, Lord of all, the root of all things, freed from disillusion, you who are eternal, unborn, may you please come. I am in trouble. In our text, one of the things I want to just bring to the fore, all these sages and munis take the time to carefully list the words that are said in prayer. Because the other night I hinted, and I want to touch on it right now. If we are talking about the problem of prayer, I want to ask a question. I go to school to learn maths, I go to school to learn English, I go to the driving school to learn how to handle a car. Where do I learn prayer? Where do I learn the value of prayer, the value of puja? Again, in the Tulsi discourse, the answer comes from the example of my parents. Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 says, when the mothers, when the wives of the home are negligent, when they let how it, as they say, how it fall, then know that you are in Kali Yuga. Because without the standard that this lady gives you, who is going to teach you? Who could substitute a mother? God bless you if you have your mother. And I bless you if you don't have your mother. For some people, they have a good father, a strong father, or maybe a stepfather that is doing the job. But in the typical, by definition, family structure, we always see in our text the value of a mom. Mommy is the person who says, hello, we having prayers for Diwali, come on. Many years later, you will hear that same child say, well, in my father's house, my mother used to always have prayers for Diwali, and I'm going to continue that tradition. What you train children, that is what they will know. However, in this age of Kali Yuga, what is apparent is people come up with excuses. People say things that you tell me how this sounds, right? Baba, well, you know, I'm a Hindu, my husband is from a different faith, but I'm leaving the decision to my child to choose which way he's going to go or she's going to go, whether to follow the father's footsteps or the mother's footsteps. The child will decide. Okay, this is my question to such a person. When your child was hungry as a child, did your child say, I want full cream milk or I want skim milk? There's a difference between a child and a parent or an adult. A child cannot go in court and give a statement because he, as an underage, a minor, as we say, they can't vote. Imagine in the law of the land. A child cannot vote because they do not have the cognitive sense to make decisions. Now we're talking about the eternal soul, and parents put it into the hands of children to make such a decision. Very weak parentage is what I would say. When there's no morality, when there's no spirituality, no principles, no Dharma to shield these children, and they're going haywire, what will you say then? That's a question. Tonight, as we continue, Lord Vishnu comes to where they are praying. Mahavishnu Shankha Chakra Gada Padma with his 4 hands sitting on Guruji. He appears and he says, "Oh, Indra, how can I help you? Why are you in such a position?" Indra says, "Prabhu, please have pity on us. Please show us mercy. We have been defeated yet again by the deities. Hrida, oh Prabhu, he is a great deity, but he is also very knowledgeable of the Vedas. And what he does is, he does not stop his prayer. And in this way, he would do all vrat, all fasting, tapasya. He would do all the rules that have been given so that the outcome of the prayer is assured. And what is the outcome? They are always more powerful. They are always more protected. Mahadev himself cannot harm them. It is as if the goddess Lakshmi is a slave to them because of the amount of prayer, the purity of their prayer. And we are being defeated because of their prayer. He says, "Dear Vishnu, dear Mahavishnu, may you please come with some solution for us because we need help. If this continues, we are going to wither away." Because what he has done, he wants to rob us. When people are doing prayer in the Havan with the ghee, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "I am the fire, I am the spoon, I am the ghee, I am the offering, the energy that the person's hand is like this. Everything is me." He says, when devotees do their offerings in the Havan, we will get nourishment, energy. But because of his acts, we are being robbed, and slowly we are becoming less and less lustrous, less energetic. And the universe is being punished for it. Everything is falling out of sync. The oxygen level is going down, the carbon dioxide level is going up. The sun is not coming up as it should. The moon is out of orbit. The planet Shani, Saturn, is leaving its orbit and is going to hit another planet. All types of these things proven in science. That at different times on the earth, when it was being retrofitted for life as we know it now, different things happen. Indra says, "Prabhu, these things are happening. Please bless us and protect us so that we'll be able to regain our previous post in heaven, in Indralok, and be able to bring back equilibrium to all forms and all parts and all corners of the universe." Sitting there on Garud in that moment, Lord Vishnu, from his one body comes a copy. And that copy is called Buddha. Let's hear what happens when he meets this copy. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita. Everybody at home, sing along. Na Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita.
Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah.
Maya Moha Ye Yam Killan Daitya Stotraye Shtrayati Tato Vidhanta Bhavantita Vedam Margavahi Kritayatam Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Mao Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Stito stititasya mevadya yanvali paritityatam brahmano vridhaye karasya devasya devaye sura Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Shri Adi Shakti Mata Ki Jai. Listening to the words of Indra from his body, he creates an illusionary form, a second form, a copy form, an ans, an avatar. This avatar is known as Buddha. He says, "O illusionary form, go upon the earth and preach another doctrine." Buddha bows to Lord Vishnu. He says, "Prabhu, may you give me proper guidance. What is my objective?" He says, "Go and teach a separate doctrine to distract and deceive those deities that are weak because of their choices. They are doing great amount of prayer, but their heart and mind is not purified. Their heart and mind, they are doing the prayers, they know what they want. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says there are 4 types of devotees. And one of the type, he says, the one who is doing something only for the want of the reward. This is not the best type of person. This person is not doing it because of wisdom or knowledge or love for God. This person is only, I am doing this for that. When I get that, the fasting, the prayers, the japping, whatever it be, done. He says, because they have this type of mentality, go and test them. And when you go and you speak to them and you pull them away from the path of the Vedas, then with that prayer broken, we'll be able to destroy them. I exercise the preservation powers that I have to preserve this balance in this universe, to preserve the righteous by sending you upon the earth to take away, to rip out, to root out those that do not have a pure mind. Those that do not have, what does he say here? Those that do not have the karma to come to me. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. Let me explain that a little bit for you. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 60. I'm starting from verse 6. He says there are 2 types of people in this world, Arjun, divine and demonic. He deals with divine in previous chapters. He says, let me tell you about the demonic. People who have demonic disposition don't know what is the right activity and what is the wrong activity. They have no idea of fasting or abstention from activity. Imagine eating meat, drinking alcohol, fasting or abstaining from, sexual pleasure with your spouse, giving that type of sacrifice so that God would see the effort, see the karma, and return the effort, return the energy to the person. I don't need to fast, I don't need to do these things. Hence they don't have purity, internal, external, nor good conduct, nor even truthfulness. People with this false view, slow-witted people, have a disposition and they do terrible deeds. These are the enemies of mankind, bent on destruction of the world. Today, as we get into this part, I want you to remember what exists around you. There are some people that say God is as high as the sky and wide as the ocean, but he can only live in my place, my church. He can only love those that follow his way, not everybody else. In those people's way, there is no explanation of what happens after death. There is no karma, there is no dharma, there is no explanation. So the person does good for good's sake. The person does bad and they go to punishment and remain apparently in punishment. There is no relief, there is no help, there is no way that a person can come out to help themselves. sometimes the explanation is not too clear, even for the followers of such faith. Then there are other faith that tell you if you go and you commit types of war, types of murder, suicide, genocide, poison people for whatever socio-political reason, for whatever religious reason, that you will go to heaven because of genocide. Whilst in every religion, and I'm saying it very clear, there is good, there is also weakness in these types of beliefs. Please understand why. I'm going to tell you now. Please listen. So we identify that there are other religion. We identify that there are some weaknesses in the thinking, in the science behind the religion. Let's hear what happens. This form, wearing red robes, shaven head, holding a walking stick in his hand, descends upon the earth and immediately goes to Hrada, that demon king. And what does he say? Hey Daitya Patayo Brato Yadhate Tasya Pat Ye Tapasvi Itiyatam Karta Ye Ya Para Trata Tapasya Kalyatam Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Why, O King, why do you practice these devout penance? Do you expect reward in this world or the next world? The king says, O one, because of how he's looking, O one of great mind, we have always engaged in these acts of penance with a view of to reap the reward. Why are you asking this question? And the Buddha says, because I have a different method, I have a different way. Parashar Muni refers to him as the deceptive figure is speaking. If you are desirous of emancipation, hear my words. There is no need for all these tough rituals, rites, these rules that you are following. Only live right, only think of right, and by your own energy you will achieve that. The king is listening. Remember the other night we were talking about the influence? Pay attention. The instructions that I have are far superior. There's nothing like it. If you follow this secret path, you will get the emancipation that you are looking for. You will get the power that you are looking for. The gifts that I offer have greater strength and potency than those foolish things you are doing. Now, in part of these foolish things, to be honest, we offer the coconut as sattvic offering. They did that. And what we wouldn't do is they offer. Somebody asked me in the earlier parts of this yagna, why do people offer the animal life? To be honest, it is written in our text. And what it did was, in Gita he talks about it, and I'm talking about it tonight. Different people pray differently. But what you do is you do not condemn. Lord Krishna says, everything comes to me. Everything is coming to me. I am everything. And how you choose to pray, believe it, it's coming to me. That is the reality. Some people offer the coconut, the energy of that coconut, sattvic clean offering. That is given, God will accept that. Somebody might offer in different texts, they talk about how kings before war, they would charhawe, everything from goat, the deer, the fowl, different things are listed. And when they give it, different outcome is possible. Till today in places like where the Red Fort is and so on, the Kshatriya families that go there, and they do worship in that temple every day, an animal is offered. Now I am not saying that it is right. That is tamasic offering. Why is it tamasic offering? Because the animal has to suffer, and the karma is being created, negative karma, because the animal is crying in pain. Imagine that's a mother, that's a father, a child, and the sufferation of separation has to happen for you, the person, to get blessed. So it is considered tamasic. This is why it is not too popular. There are people who do that. Don't get me wrong. And then you have sattvic offering. The coconut is something that does not have the consciousness. It has energy, it has a life. And people do research and they see the movement in the atoms and they say, well, the plant is under distress when you pick the corn or whatsoever. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. What happens as we continue? What happens when Buddha gives them this type of advice? What would you do? When someone comes and gives all forms of sweetness and goodness to entice you. You know the story where the children go in the woods and the wicked witch gives them all the candy and all the sweet things, good things, and it turns out to be poison. Parashad Muni says that dull minds doing prayer, doing teachings and prayers, Vedas, practicing these things simply because they only wanted to win war. They only wanted to kidnap the wives of others and to practice vice. Now that it is as if a blessing had come, a simpler method had come to them. It was a gift to them. That, you know what? I no longer have to do this amount of prayer, this amount of hard worship. I am going to be free. I am going to be happy. I am going to be able to do as I want, live as I want, eat what I want. And I am going to get the same outcome. There's no need for sacrifice. Thinking like this, the same king becomes baptized in this new logic, in this new school of thought, and he begins to spread and appropriate this doctrine. They start to get people to follow it, their entire army. All the demons now stop lighting their diya, stop offering water. They stop all types of offering. Everything is stopping. And they listen to the false prophet speak, and he gives them all forms of teachings, a full volume compendium of knowledge. And what does it teach? If you imagine where you want to go, don't work for it. If you see where you want to go, you will go there just by knowing it. Baudavam, know where you want. Baudyati, and it is known. Baudyatam, know what you want, know where you want to arrive. And just by that positiveness, by thinking of that alone, not by the workings of rituals, not by the workings of Seva, not by the workings of Bhakti, not by the followings of Dharma. None of these things is necessary. Live right and be good, and you will find everything. All the young soldiers, they want to know more. They tell him, please preach. What does he sense? If a person has to go to God, and the precepts preach that in order to go to God, you have to offer clarified butter, ghee in the fire. This is childishness. This is stupidness. How does ghee translate into blessedness? But what does Lord Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? I am the energy that is giving the act of the hour. I am the spoon I am the fire that is accepting the offering, the gift, the sacrifice that you have made. And by karma, that energy that is stored inherent. Why do we use ghee? Why do we use oil? Why do we use these things? Because I'm doing Hanuman Puja, I use jasmine oil. I'm doing Shani Shanti Puja, I use mustard oil. I'm doing any other puja, I'm using ghee. And the reason is it is very fatty, it is rich in energy, stored energy. So when I offer it, I'm offering potent gifts to God. He says, if anyone after going to God, after dying, leaving this world, and you have to get blessings, then a person is dependent on Shraddha. By feeding somebody else, then the soul of the other person is going to get satisfaction. That is ridiculous. Eat for yourself. Enjoy what you have to eat now, and that will provide for you. There's no need to feed anybody. And in these ways, in these thinkings, he says, if you have to make a sacrifice, if you have to make gifts of good things and great things in order to win the goodness and the happiness of God, why not take your own father? And this is what he says, take your own father and sacrifice him too. Isn't he great? Give him to the God. And in that thinking, then you will find God. And like this, many types of confusing thoughts were laid to them. But because of the impurity that existed in their mind, the impurity was allowed to take hold of this person. What am I talking about? In Bhagavad Gita, it says in verse 13 of chapter 16, people, 12 and 13, held in bondage by the expectation of prayer, filled with lust and anger. They are amassed by unfair means hoards of money, objects of sensual pleasures, and they think to themselves, today so much has been secured by me, and I, because of my ambition, I am going to continue to work. Wealth is already with me, and yet again this shall be mine, and that shall be mine. That enemy, I am going to slay that enemy. I shall kill those individuals. I am the Lord of all. I am the enjoyer of all my power. I am endowed with occult powers. Have you ever heard somebody say, I have power? There are many people who have said, like Hanumanji, God bless people with different gifts to see the future, to give readings and all these things, and it goes to their head. Think about that. For those people that are watching me tonight, and you belong to the Shakti worship or the Shakti way. A person manifests Bhairav Baba, a person manifests Ganga Mata, Lakshmi Mata. All I'm saying here tonight is, shouldn't you be a vessel of goodness? Shouldn't you be a vessel of positive, encouraging good and behaving good? But however, people think that I am now more powerful. I am now mighty. I am happy. I am wealthy. I have a huge family. Who is equal to me? But listen to this part. I am going to do puja, yagna to the devatas. I will give alms. I will give charity. I will make merry. This is not a demonic person like we think about Ravan and Kans. This is you and me. Because we go and we fight to make money. We fight to elevate ourselves, to build the house bigger and bigger, to get more and more. And when it has prayer, yes, we're going to do the prayers. We're going to do the best prayers. We're going to have the most people in the prayers. So that in my ego, I can say I had 100,000 people. It is not about what you get when you come. It is not about that people are able to hear the discourse and their soul is slowly going up. No, I just want to show to everybody that I can do a yagna and I can have 500 people at my home every night for that yagna to boast about the same. He says these people are considered to be demonic. I will give charity. Send me a text. Come on, everybody leave me a comment. Come on, we need to talk. Do you know somebody like this? I honestly believe this is me. Deluded by ignorance, enveloped in delusion, addicted to pleasure, with thoughts of these devilish disposition, these people fall from one hell to the next, given over to ego, force, arrogance, anger, all these different types of characteristics, dwelling in these bodies, these hateful people. When they die, I bring them back in the samsara over and over again, and I give them into demon-like wombs. A demonical womb is a womb, again, because of the weakness of the mother. You are never taught good things. So instead of you go up in this life, you are going to go down. When you are, and we'll hear about that shortly, when you are supposed to have the opportunity to arise and go to God, you're going to go in the opposite direction. People talk a lot about Brahman, caste, and all these things. But consider this. Ravan is born into a very illustrious Brahmin family. And Prahalad. Now, a common mistake that many people, they get angry. They get angry. I'm sure, all joke aside, I'm sure it has happened to you. When the witnesses of a different religion are walking the road, brother, could I leave a leaflet with you? Lord Krishna says, in whichever form, I am the God behind that form. When he takes the form with all the heads, you see elephant head, snake head, rat head, all kind of head, dog head, everything. One of the head couldn't be Jesus, one of the head couldn't be Allah. What does he say in a different part of this Gita? He says, when a person knows more right conduct, when in a verse he says, demonic people never know what is right behavior. Right conduct, please listen to this part. The person who knows more does not break the person who knows less. And what is the problem that you see in this age of Kali Yuga? Some people are at this level, and some people know more. Some people have a better understanding. This is what we talk about, the gunas, the influence. When Brigu was, night before, when he was testing Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and he saw the difference in their influence, in their intellect, what happens? I don't understand the concept of the Hindu faith. I don't understand the fasting. I don't understand this, that, and the other. So I'm going to join a different faith. I'm born into a different faith. Hinduism says the person who knows Sanatana Dharma is supposed to lift an individual. Do you think I only do puja and prayer for what we call Hindus alone? Do you think I only lecture and christen, as I say christen, I mean Guru Diksha, christen Indian people alone? Everybody is God's children. So I have Chinese, Catholic people that come and sit and do puja, Baptist, Negro people, Dogra people, Spanish people, white people, you name it. Because when people come before you and they say, Baba, when I'm checking Patra or whatever it is, or I have a problem, I have an issue in my family, may you please help me. Using the medicine of Hinduism. If you go to a doctor, he will give you tablet. If you go to the mechanic, he will give you the best engine oil. But when you come to a Hindu Pandit, a Hindu priest, he will give you prayers and fasting, jap. And these people follow it because it makes sense to them. For this reason, Hinduism is exploding in the West. Haven't you seen the proliferation of yoga? The meditation, the need, the hunger to get something that makes more sense, because there is a bigger pit here than just living in this existence. Krishna says the person who knows more shares his knowledge and lifts the other person, encourage the other person. When there's a religion In Islam, when people are doing jihad and we see the corruption and the trouble, the hardships that people experience in other parts of the world. The Hindu, what makes you a Hindu? The person who practices ahimsa. The person who does not attack, but the person who defends. There's a difference. We have police officers, we have Arjun with a bow and an arrow, Lord Vishnu, all of them go to war, but they go to war for the right reason. They go to war to protect righteousness, to protect people. And there came the caste system. Who's going to do these things? The concept and the belief of Dharma, Karma, and the teachings that after the soul, the Jivatma leaves this world, it goes to merge into the energy, the electrons, the neurons, the atomic energy that exists. These are the things that Yashoda saw in the mouth of Krishna when he was eating the mud. The thinking of the Hindu, the creative process, what is now called the Big Bang Theory and all these things. Man in the Western world is relearning these things. It was already listed in our text. When the world thought, when the Europeans thought the world was flat, it was already written in our text that Ganesh Baba, Skan Baba, the brother of Ganesh, went around the world, whilst Ganesh walked around his parents. In that example alone, there are other examples. How can you go around if it is just flat and there's nothing, you fall off at the end? In the description in our text about the land, the terraforming of mountains breaking down when nourishing feet was pressing, causing certain parts of the land to go under the water. What we talk about in Santorini, Greece. What we talk about, how you call that place? Atlantis. And all these things that are proven to be real. Our text dealt with it. When Sri Ram has the arrow that he's about to shoot into the ocean, when Varuna Sagar has to appear to show him how to cross the water. And he says, I have this arrow mounted, tell me where to shoot it. And he says, shoot it to the west. The west of India is the Middle East, where all the desert and the arid Sahara desert and all these places existed. We know in India, with the Rift Valley, where there was once lush forest. When the Rift Valley comes up, there is a change in the formation of the land. These things are documented in our text. For this reason, the Hindu does not condemn. Imagine, let me use myself as an example, and I want to put this in your mind. As a pundit know about prayers, fine. So a child comes and the child says, Babs, well, I feel I shouldn't wear urni. Babs, I feel I should offer KFC in a Ganesh Puja. Children say all types of things. If I start to quarrel and yell and belittle that child, would I be the right person or would I be the wrong person? Sometimes when we get into religious debates, our own brothers and sisters, and I want you to pay attention to that, because what we were talking about last night, the purity of your mind. If your mind is not of the right caliber, and you go into the best tirat, you go to do the best yagna, you go to do the best puja, you're not going to get the full benefit of that prayer. So you have to come out of that gutter. And when others go low, you go high. When people attack your faith and people tell you you're doing stupidness, you're doing bad, you are wasting time like what Buddha did. Okay, brother, if you think so, let me use an analogy to explain it. Hinduism, by I can't remember his name, but he's an Italian author, is described as a grandfather. And members of different faith, because in Christianity there's good, in Islam there's good. Me and Priya had the opportunity one year for Eid, we were traveling and we were in Egypt. And I always remember what stood out to me was the way a Muslim fasts, the rigor. Hindus are not there yet. The discipline, meaning to say. So whilst we can ill speak everybody has good in them. I saw we were in Egypt, they have the worst than India, worst traffic. speeding cars, they drive very crazy. And it was time to break the fast. Tell me if you would do this tonight. Comment, come on. Remember, Lord Krishna says, I am all the gods are me. I saw a father holding 3 daughters. Let's just say 10, 5, and a baby in his arm. And what they did was, it was time to break fast. So they were flagging down cars. And people would pull aside on the highway. And they were giving you little parcels of dates and a juice. Because in Islam, when they're breaking their fast, that is what they use. These people were on the highway feeding people. In that form, in the form of normal food. Food was being shared. Anywhere you go, you did not have to ask, you did not have to join, you did not have to do anything. But for the Islamic person, the concept of charity is so good. It have good in it. But the writer, the Italian guy, I can't remember his name right now. He says the Sanatan Dharma follower, the Hindu, that person is like a grandfather because their Dharma, their practices are so old. So the explanations of the universe, why things are the way they are. In Christianity, for example, they will say God made you in His image, but they leave you hanging when we talk about the flaws that you and I have. I'm a person that wears glasses. I have astigmatism. God made me. I have diabetes. God made me. But God make you with that disease, Baba? Hinduism says, because of Baba's karma, he has a deficiency in his body. When you get cancer, when you get heart disease, when you get COVID, we pray to God, yes. But why did God allow this to happen to me? Hinduism, the older one, says karma. The younger one does not have an explanation. Islam, Buddhism, Jainism, all these things, they have good, they teach good. And for the person that is here, there's a religion for them. For example, in Gita he says, don't break them, but lift them, pull them up. Be the bigger person. Be tolerant. Be tolerant. When in chapter 12 in Bhagavad Gita he's talking and he says, my devotee is forgiving. They are not grudging. They are not hateful. They are not vile. They are not cruel. They love all. All, not some. All. You cannot be prejudicial and be his dear one. You cannot be racial and be his dear one. No. See the good in all, but know who you are. Why is it important to hold to your faith? Because this faith is your karma. You have worked hard to achieve the ability to be born in such a dharma that gives to you the proper training. Why is it proper training? He says the devotee of me never has to be reborn again. The person who reaches to me, the person who purges themselves of the impurity in their mind and all the pleasure and all the this and all the attachments, and they're holding on to all these things, we walk away from it one day. People say, well, Babs, is that possible? Let me put it this way. When a young girl is 7, 8 years old, Christmas is about getting a dolly or a tea set. Agreed? Is it the same when she's 16? When she's pregnant at 25, does she want a dolly or is she waiting for her dolly, her baby? When she's 60, does she want a dolly the same way? That is just one example of a desire that change, that walk away, no longer. Naturally, I no longer want that. But suppose I'm 60 years old and I still want to go and play with dolly like yesterday. And there's nothing wrong with playing with a dolly. But then somebody might watch you and think, I wonder if mommy going off. I wonder if mommy losing it. Let me use another example. When the young man is 19 years old, he's a macho man. He's fixing everything, in school is to make sure you iron all this to look the best. 19 years old. When you're 45, forget to even iron your shoes. When you get 60 now, the sexual part of life, different. Sexual part of life behind. In Hinduism, we talk about sannyasi and a different focus, enjoying your family life, taking after your health and so on, looking for God. Suppose the 60-year-old wants to act like the 19-year-old. Would that be proper behavior? Would that be, as Guru Puran says, acting your age? Likewise, when people in this life are born with different understanding, they fall into what makes sense to them. That is them. They understand this, and in that creation of what Lord Vishnu has made, what Lord Krishna has made, the other religion, is because they do good. To their understanding. That is their karma. They have been born in such a family, in such a womb, that they will belong to such a place of worship or a belief system that will carry them as far as it can go. And when they reach where they reach, they will have to born again and come back. What happens to such people? They will have to come back. And when they grow, because of the good that they are doing as in the church, in the mosque, feeding people, doing good, giving good, alright, that little good is coming up, it's adding up, you're feeding the animals, good, you're coming up, you're more straightforward, you're more honest, good. That goodness now will lead a person to Sanatana Dharma. For this reason, we don't criticize, but we understand the role of other religions. The role of these other places and other doctrines of thought. This is why we don't think that we should tell you, come and join us. We are not of that little mind, that I have to say base tendency, that puts a person to think that we have to get numbers, we have to recruit people, and then we are going to be sufficient. Sometimes people recruit people because they want the money, the financial gain that will come from more followers. In Hinduism, in order to be a Hindu, in order to be a follower of Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, a person has to have the karma. And whilst, yes, you can be indoctrinated in it, a person has to step up their thinking, go looking for God and goodness, in order to accept a guru, to get training, to come into this way, to become a Sanatana Dharma follower, Sanatanist. To follow that mechanism and that way of thinking, it comes with training in terms of non-violence, abstention of eating beef, the understanding of where God is, the understanding of the accountability of karma. And the person would learn these things like in an ashram. It is quite often when you look at, let's say the Western world, America for example, when you go in there at the bank of the Ganga in Rishikesh, one of the Divine Life World Center, that ashram is there, I'm using this as an example. And people go and people join with permission. You have to get a letter of reference. The first time I went in there, I had to get from the Swami in Trinidad Divine Life, to get a letter recommending and giving me permission to enter the ashram, just to see what it is like, just to have the experience. And I did go close on the road to go where Gita Press, the people that make these books that I'm reading from. And it was amazing to see how people sit from different race, different cultures, different background, but they are hunted, they are hungry for what me and you are born into. And this is the problem. When we are born with this natural gift and you do not appreciate the gift, what will happen, dear brothers and sisters, you are going to take off the protection, the clothing that you are born with, the gifts that God gave you to protect you in this life, and you are going to end up naked. Naked, so that you will be bare and barren to take the licks that will come in this life. Without the principles to guide you, without the knowledge that there's accountability in karma. The chapter continues for a person who associates with somebody who is always damning the faith that he follows, damning the Sanatanists, damning and telling you, why are you doing that? Why are you following that? Man, give up that, that's too much of work. Follow my way. Follow my way. And he does that. And now he does not have regulation in his activity. There's no karma again. There's no shroud. There's no funeral. There's no sanskar. How it go. How you live, you live. And what happens? The law of karma is eternal. It's there. These things exist, whether you believe it or not. And when bad starts to happen to you and you start to go down, if not in this life, in your next life, this person has to born and reborn. Going through what? Painful experiences, such as disease, such as separation, such as seeing parents, when parents have to live to see their children die. One of the cause is when you abuse your Dharma, when you spit on the Ved, when you spit on the puja that you have to do. The prasad, who want prasad? Who want this? Oh my God! Don't worry, in your next life you will reap the reward of that. The Hindu, long ago when people used to give prasad in a little piece of paper or a leaf, why? It's just a morsel of that which is touched by Lord Vishnu. I need. Do you share cups of panchamrit? Just a drop, Baba. And ingesting that little prasad, the blessings of the Lord was upon you. Now we have parcels and too much, so you get big belly, and a different problem comes. Prasad is something that we're not even supposed to kick or cross. So religious, so auspicious. But when people change their thought and change their thinking and they go down, then they will continue to go down. What does he say? In chapter, those hateful and sinful and cruel men, I cast them again and again in a demonical womb in this world. Failing to reach me, those stupid persons are born life after life into those lowly womb and family, and they verily sink from one plane into the next, with different types of anger, greed, desires. With these types of traits, they have to go through many births before they reach me. Discarding the injunctions of scripture, that person acts arbitrary. They act because of their opinion. They act to attain occult powers, to black magic, to gain quick fixes, to gain more than just the normal happiness. And when the scripture is no longer their guide, these people with this type of tantric behavior, knowing this, a person should first follow their scripture, hold to their faith, know the truth tonight, devotees, about Buddha. This is why when you go to temple, although he is the 9th incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is not the truth. He is not there. He is there as a mechanism placed by God. When God says, my devotee is 1 in a million, meaning Krishna, my devotee is 1 in a million. This person is going to come out of the samsara, birth and death, but the rest will have to continue. They are all praying to me, it's just they don't realize it's me. But this one guy, he realized who I am. And he's coming out, he comes to me. What happens to the other 900,000, 90,000, 99, whatever figure that is? What happens to them? These are the people that worship and feed spirits. These are the people that do prayer that has no other benefit rather than quick fix. These are people that cause the death of others, sacrifice blood, sacrifice humans, these type of acts that yield coming back again, come back again, come back again. How do you know? Lord Pran talks about for example, if a person should thief honey, he takes that soul when the person dies and he puts them into the body of the fly. Go and thief the honey now. For the person who, when we have prayers, we go to pick neem leaf, palm leaf, doop grass, whatever it be, and you don't ask the tree, you don't ask the owner, you thief it. That is thieving. Take it, it does not belong to you. Take it and you don't even ask the neighbor, auntie, Mousy, I come to pick some flowers. I have puja this morning. Go ahead, son. Without that permission, In your next life, you're going to become the monkey. So God, depending on the karma, God takes the soul and He puts you in a place based on your activity and thinking. Baba, I'm going to pick them flowers. Who would know a thief it? I'm going to thief she rose when a prayer plant, a rose plant in front of them, a particular neighbor, and she passing on God. She's going to pull out the whole thing, break the flower stem. Anybody ever do that by you? Leave me a message. Come on, write me something. Do people do that? Do you do that? Don't do that. When you go to pick flowers, remember the rules, the Dharma. Ask, get permission. The person who steals perfume in your next life, you are going to become the deer, the musk deer. And what happens when people use musk perfume? They harvest the essence of the deer, the elements that are in this oil in the body of the deer. They take that and they make perfume. So you become the perfume. When people eat food, you become the rat. When people do these things, there's an accountability. This is the value of Hinduism. It shows you why. How does, if God made everything, why He makes it the way He makes it. This is why in our image, God is a bird, God is a rat, God is a snake. Everything is God. That is the Hindu concept. That is when you hear people talk about God realization. That, what do I realize? I realize who is God. Does God live only in the temple? No. Does God live in a grass? Yes, tulsi, kush, all these things. Two grass is the hair from under Lord Vishnu's arm, it is said in that discourse. The sweat of Lord Vishnu is the sesame seed or the till that we use in prayer. Everything is God. And this is what He says in that Christian discourse before the Buddha walked upon the earth. Before that destructive force came upon the earth. But what happens to you and I? You and I must hold to our faith. Chapter 18, in the first verse, He says the person, chapter 17, sorry. The person endowed with faith who worships God and others, disregarding, there are some that will disregard the injunctions of the scripture. Where do they stand, O Krishna? Even in faith, there is sattvic, rajasic and tamasic, because there are people who will do prayers. The person who has true faith, whatever the nature of that faith, readily he will gain. He will gain or lose depending. People who practice severe penance, people who do all types of damaging their body, beating their body, scraping their body, emasculating their body, things that are not sanctioned by scripture, these people don't get best type of blessings. These people are losing out. But faith, when stabilized and you conform to the disposition of sattvic, that type of faith will lead you to Lord Vishnu, lead you to God. Tonight, there are many people, and I'm saying this for those of you looking around the globe, maintain your belief in your God, regardless of the test. Wherever you are, hardship, poverty, sickness, illness, COVID, desperation, all these are causes for some people to say, convert, leave your Dharma, join my way, follow my way. And God is giving an explanation for that. Let me see what you do. In Hinduism, tell me, come on, comment tonight, share a word. We don't have the devil. That same God says, you want to pray, you want to be happy. Durga Mata tells Vashish Muni when she makes the form of the Sodas Matrika. Vashish Muni was praying for long, and when she comes and appears in front of him. And she says, oh Muni, oh son, ask for what you want. He says, Ma, bless me that if my devotion ever goes down, you will pull me back up. She says, no problem. Today I bless you that I will take 16 forms, Sodash, Matrika, mothers, that whenever your devotion goes down, I will cause you trouble. So Vashish Muni said, Ma, I didn't ask you for trouble. I see, would you ask for trouble? Suppose God told you that. What would you say? What would you say tonight? Come on everybody. You don't get to talk to Pandit when I'm reading in Jag. Talk to me tonight. Tonight, when I sit down to answer all those comments, I'll reply to you. He says, Ma, how? Why would you give me trouble? I didn't ask you for trouble. I didn't sit down here and pray for trouble. She says, well, son, if some people don't have trouble, they never pray. I will test you. And I will keep you in prayer. I will keep you disciplined. I will send hardship. I will send sickness. In that 16 form, one of her forms is Savitri. When she's happy, Savitri Devi will bless you with married life. And when she's not happy, there will be divorce. There will be widower. There will be delayed marriage. When she's happy in the form of Shashti, the sixth mother, there will be children. When Shashti is not happy, children will die. That same mother is the one who gives blessings, rewards, and the same one that deals out punishment. With these types of concepts, with the true understanding of God, then a person will understand why I am doing my worship. I want to have favor with my God. I want to have the blessings of my Lord. So in case trouble is to come, let it move off. Prayers move mountains. If Lord Vishnu makes the mountain, he can move that mountain. Do you believe that? There are some people who do prayers, but their faith is very weak. I do any puja, you know, but I don't know if Lord Shiva could help with cancer. I do any prayers, you know, but I don't know if Lord Shiva could help me with my diabetes, or my high blood pressure, or my COVID. But believe it or not, if you take the time to listen to your discourses, Lord Vishnu says in a different text, he says, when a person has diabetes, and there's a description of diabetes where your body is no longer regulating the sugar in your system, for those type of disease where there's a hormonal imbalance, you use the Varun Gayatri, Varun Devta Gayatri, Om Arham. That mantra is used. Give water in charity. Do that type of lifestyle, and you will be able, it won't be, I wouldn't lie for you, I'm not telling you diabetes will disappear, but it will be under control. You could live, and live a happy life, live a good life. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, I just wanted to explain where the different religion comes from. That there is an explanation. They give you the history of the 9th form of Lord Vishnu, based on what Brigu, last night in our discourse, where he gets the Shra, where it comes from. Why you don't see Buddha in the typical temple. This is why. Further to that, we talked about Parabdha Karma. Parabdha Karma, the karma that makes me a father, makes me a brother, the gifts that people have in this life. I excel at maths, I excel at English, whatever. And we talked a lot about Bhagavad Gita chapter 17, what demonic people, and why is it that we have demonic people? The thinking, the impurity that exists in people's mind. Lord Vishnu says, "Oh Buddha, root them out, pull them in this category so that they can born again, because I am the God, I am all the gods, I am all the devatas, all are me, Krishna." So there's nothing like their God and my God. It's just they don't have the opportunity to think that you're saying God is as high as the sky and he's wide as the ocean, but he can only live in the Christian church. God can only exist there. He cannot be everywhere. He cannot be with people of a different faith. No. The Hindu is saying otherwise. That all is God. And in that way, with that thinking, don't fall in the trap that when, like children, people of different religion are competing to see mine is better than yours. Don't fall in that trap. I know who I am. I know what I believe in and why I believe in my Dharma, and hold strong to your Dharma. If I know what I have and the value of what I have, it is like the clothes on my back. Don't take off the protection, the armor that you have because of the opinion or the view of another person. It is when a person's faith is weak and a person is deluded and a person is confused